So let's talk about the Arcane Season 2. I expected more, to be honest. I really did, because there was so much potential in Season 1, in the storytelling, in the characters, and all of this, and they somehow decided to change the rails, do the story a little bit about different stuff. They decided to put a lot of it into the story. They tried to pack too much stuff into it, and some characters suffered, some storylines suffered, and it was all like a little bit rushed, it was going a little bit too fast. And man, it's kind of sad considering how good the pacing and the character development and the story of season 1 was. And still, the season 2 is good. All right, there's nothing denying it. It's just too fast. It feels like it was rushed in the development. And although graphic looks really good, graphic looks exactly as it looks in the season 1, right? Graphic is like amazing. Graphics, 3D animations, characters, models, effects. All the even when when the forgot the word. When the water drops, it's like, and there's like tiny effect, tiny splash. There's all those artistic purposes, and the music is really good in the show. It's still like this, but it's still not the same, right? It's still a little bit too fast, a little bit too. I don't know why they decided to cram so much stuff. Maybe because there was too many characters, really, and they just wanted to put as much as possible, and they suffered because of that. They should have stick with what they had before. And I kind of, I was so excited about it because, I, in the end of the video, was like, damn, yeah, I'm gonna watch Arcane. But in the beginning of episode 1, I kind of understood that there's something a little bit wrong. But then there was like one epic moment with Caitlyn when Council was like, no, all right, without spoilers yet. But there was like one moment where I was like, damn. Alright, this is it. This is gonna be fucking epic. And I had this throb into my heart. I was like, damn. Ooh, okay, this is gonna be good. But there was a few moments like that, but it kind of was a little bit underwhelming. And now, let's do the spoiler part now. Okay, I'm gonna... before that, now, there's one more thing I forgot to tell. Is that one of the reasons why I didn't really expect it different, more like, is that since this is a show based on the game, and there is a lore to League of Legends, but this could be rewritten. It's not a storytelling game, right? It's just MOBA, but there is a lot of lore and like the stories and the animations and whatnot. But the idea is that every character has its own personality, and what I expected for the show to do is that every character would go to their personality that they actually have in the game, but it didn't happen to all of them, and this is what I expected gonna happen differently. All right, now let's go to the spoiler part. Let's start with the beginning. I have like a giant fucking list I'm gonna do. All right, now first thing is about too rushed. Why did I think that way? There was a first moment where it actually happened. It was when Caitlyn's mother died, and there was this drawn picture, and it probably was artistic purpose, but it kind of felt like that like, all right, you want to spend a little bit more money on the animation. I think now when I've watched the entire show, I think that was a false thought. I think it was purely artistic purpose because there wasn't anything like that before. After that, there was like a few moments, but in general, the quality of the picture never suffered. The quality of the animation never suffered. So I probably was wrong on that, but it kind of was the first sign that there's something wrong. It's like a mining canary in a way. But then in the end of the episode, the Caitlyn is like puts her dick on the table and is like, who's boss now? I am boss now. Here's the group to capture Jinx. All right, we're gonna get rid of her. Damn. And I was like, and the entrance of the Y and the moment in like the music, damn, it was insane. It was really good, right? But still, episode after episode after episode, it didn't strike as good as season 1, and the reason why is because they changed the direction. And this is what I really, what was I really hoping for is when you watch all of those previews basically of the show, right? There was a few previews. There was a preview with Warwick, I don't know how to say it, the wolf, right? The Vander Wolf, because it's spoiler part I can say it, whatever, right? And one thing and another one, I expected Warwick to be more of a horror type episode. I thought there was gonna be like an entire episode when there's gonna be like new threat in town and he's gonna be like appearing, killing people and all that. I really expected like the entire episode for Warwick, and they kind of did him a little bit of a disservice because they could have done more with the original shown when he was originally shown, and I think it was too quickly revealed that he was a Vander. I think they could have done a little bit more with it. And yeah, this whole idea of the identity of Warwick is a beast or a man, and we know he's gonna become a beast eventually, right? Because in the league he's like a fully looked like a wolf. He doesn't look like a man even, although in the show he looks like a man. Really changed to like a half beast, half man kind of, but he still looks somewhat human. And yeah, this is kind of how it is with Wander. In the second thing, what I really expected is they're gonna continue on going with Zone versus Piltover. Piltover versus Zone. There's gonna be like a war, and there's gonna be like epic stuff. There's gonna be a battle. And while I get the battle, it wasn't the battle I hoped. It wasn't with the forces I hoped, because you know, if you watched it, in the end there happens a battle with the what was the name? Noxians, right? With the Noxians, and I was expecting there's gonna be like Zone versus Piltover. You know, one's gonna use the technology, another one's gonna have like a not the Warwick, let's say, but there's gonna be like Jinx. There's gonna be like I don't know, maybe some Twitch is gonna come around, and there's gonna be other characters. This is what I expected, but it wasn't the case, unfortunately. And the whole Piltover versus Zone didn't even get to war, and it was swept onto the rug like after a few episodes. I thought it was gonna be like take the entire show, but again, because it was too rushed, they wanted to put a lot of it, and the main direction was basically Noxians instead. Noxians and the mother. What was her like this name? Medarda. Yeah, Medarda. I have it here. And basically Medarda family, let's say, and the old lady with the Noxians against Piltover. That was basically what it was, and you know, Victor versus Jace as well. But when you actually think about it, right? There's only 9 episodes. Each one is 40 minutes. For some reason, I thought that each one's gonna be like an hour, and I thought that Arcane had an hour long episodes, but I don't know why I thought that, even though I watched it. But still, right? Let's get through all of them. All right. First is Piltover versus Zone, which I mentioned, right? First, let's say storyline, right? It's versus Zone, like give us Jinx, we're gonna tear the city apart if we need to, but we need to get Jinx. So this is where like Caitlyn's a little bit changes, all that. Then there is like a Victor story arc where he reanimates, you know, where his life is saved because of the technology, right? Because of the hex tech, you know, genetically changed the hex tech, and his story of like becoming a false idol, making a hive mind out of people, and you know, finally getting to his point when he becomes like a proper character from the league, you know, from the like Victor, with his like laser and stuff, and decides that humans need to get rid of their emotions because emotions are like weakness. He started to strive to perfection. And while there was a really good moment about the imperfections, like in the final battle of Jace versus Victor, there was a moment of when they talked about imperfection, and that perfection is like imperfection is what makes you actually. All of those weird kinks, sounds weird, but all those weird stuff that you have, all those stuff you like, you don't like, all the habits you have, they basically make you, right? And if you're gonna be perfect, if everybody's gonna be perfect, then everybody's gonna be the same. And would you actually be yourself? Or that's a really good, interesting point to think about, right? All those about the perfections and imperfections. But like this is like the second story arc, all right? Now there is triangle of Vi, Jinx, and Caitlyn, which you can divide into several parts, but let's put it into one part. It's gonna be like a third story arc. All right, now there's like the whole story of Warwick being Vander, being Beast or a man, and his relationships to his daughters, and all of this, and Singed. Let's put Singed in here, right? There's gonna be like Black Rose, which is like a whole new thing that was added, and it's pretty big arc. There's Medarda. There's I forgot the name of the girl that becomes like unlocks her powers, and you know this stuff. Also, there is like a Piltover versus Noxus because of the Black Rose, but it's still like a separate thing which happens in the last few episodes. Basically, right? The sixth thing. There is like a few smaller subplots. It's like Jinx and her fan, like this little girl that died, which was carried on for several episodes. Then she just died, and then like, what was it for? I don't know. I don't know what was it for. To show that Jinx has humanity after all, that she changed. I don't know. I don't think it's even good that Jinx changed, to be honest, because I expect a little bit different out of her as well. Because like she finally embraced what she is, but then she kind of reverted a little bit back to powder. But I'm gonna talk about it sooner, all right? Now, and there's like also Mel and Jace, which is like which they kind of forgot at midpoint, towards the end, more like, and after the battle, I mean. Jace, okay, Jace is spared to the battle, but it's kind of like also not really, wasn't really shown. So yeah, there's a lot of subplots and everything is happening. Imagine if there's gonna be like, let's say all those, alright, how much is gonna be, like 7? Wait, 2, 8 subplots, 6 big ones, 2 small ones, 8 subplots in a 9-episode show. What I said about Penguin before is that it was too slow, and the Arcane is a perfect example. Well, Arcane Season 1 was, but the Season 2 is actually a little bit too fast, actually, because they cut a lot of the interesting parts. They cut a lot of the meat, and it feels like it's forced, it feels like it's rushed, and a lot of characters don't even have the amount of screen time, alright? There's a little bit of stuff I want to talk about it as well. Now, oh yes, the weird stuff with Arcane, I forgot about this as well, because there was like an Echo going through the past, and you know, Jace having his own like Dark Souls speedrun, basically, right? He was like, it wasn't like a Dark Souls, it was like a horror show, more like, to be honest. But it's always was like extremely grim and dark world, so it was like 9 subplots in a 9-episode show. It's like, subplot has only 1 episode for it. And some of them are pretty big, some of them pretty massive in time. How can you actually fill all that in 9 episodes of 40 minutes? I don't know. I don't know how they can do that. And apparently you can't. Apparently you can't. You have too much stuff on your plate. And they needed to focus on what they already have. It's Piltover versus Zone, they already have it. And why do you need to put the power that is not even from the Piltover into the fucking foreground? I don't know. I don't know why you need to do that. I understand there's a lot of different universes, not universes, but there's a lot of different places, different locations and countries, but you're already gonna have different shows for it. Why do you need to put it here? That's a question I have for you, alright? And, you know, there was a lot, like, I just remembered it right before recording, alright? That's why I put it. But there was a few storylines that were actually mentioned. Right? There was like a dying tree in the sanctuary that they completely forgot about. Oh yeah, this tree is dying because of the Hextech. Oh, it's because Hextech does this, does that, and then they kind of completely forgot about it, and they never mentioned it. I understand there was like a more important problems than that, but why even mentioning it in the first place then? I don't really know. I don't know. And you know, Piltover vs. Zone also was kind of forgot, but I mentioned it like 100 times because I really wanted to see epic battle between these two worlds. Because you know, in the lore, it's like 2 warring nations, but in the end, they like helped each other, and then Zone left. And do they have war now? Do they not have war now? What is their relationship between those 2 places, upside and down, top, downside, right? Well, what is the relationship between the I don't know. I have no idea. And most of the time was spent like, I I don't know, on the Medardo stuff and on the Noxians for some reason. And you know, if you look at the characters, like one of the things what I didn't really like was that I know the game is a source material, all right, and the game already has characters that are somewhat written, right? Some very well written, some a little bit forgotten. For example, like what was the name of the Joker, right? Of the clown who's like just appeared and now he's a menace, but it's like a running meme in the community a little bit. So you know, but the other characters are pretty well written and they have their own motivations, they have their own characters which you can see in the game. For example, Victor is a good example, right? This is the guy who is like emotions are riddance, right? They're not allowing the people to become the perfect, right? Only logic, only perfection. And this is what we see in Victor. And you know, right before the end, essentially, right? That's what we see in him. But then he changed back, he reverted. And I was like, shouldn't he be like that? Because it's like in the game, why would you need to strip it? But there is a way for him to become like that, sure. I can get that one, alright, sure, but like Jinx is gonna be like the best example. What is she like in the game? She's like insane. She's like hey, fucking basically low-key Joker of the league, if you think about it, or more like I don't know, Harley Quinn, if you think about it, but because she's like a woman as well, probably gonna be a better example. But she basically became more human than she was in season 1, partially because of the girl that they added, but like she strayed away more from her personality in the game, like how she's in the game. Although you had like a perfect path for her to become like full psycho, full Jinx of the source material, right? It was there all along, but you had to fucking revert her a bit to make her more human, more heroic for some reason, although she couldn't, but she shouldn't really be. Why would you do that? I don't know. I have no idea. And you know, her death was a little bit rushed because you know there was like a string of deaths that happened. There was a Victor and Jace that disappeared. Maybe died, maybe not. Maybe they got into the future, into the past, because you know it was because of the Echo stuff. And then she dies, and then she doesn't even have the time to mourn her properly, and then just ends. It was a bit rushed, it felt like, and it was implied that she actually survived because you know the ventilation shafts, because of the in the last like few moments before the end there is like writings in the Jinx style. It's like the end, and it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe she's alive, right? Maybe she's alive, maybe she's actually okay. But who else? Let's see. Another one is, which I'm really sad about, Heimerdinger. He wasn't really there. He was basically forgotten. He was like there for like maybe 20 minutes total screen time. She was in the episode 7 when they went to the alternate universe with Echo, which was actually a pretty good development, to be honest. It's like we were shown how good the world actually could have been if the circumstances were a little bit different. And this is what was one of the main focuses of the Arcane season 1. If one thing changed a little bit, it could have been absolutely different. And that was like the whole focus. It's like, if only this thing didn't happen, right? Then all could have been different. Why a Jinx would be, why in Powder would be there together. There wouldn't be any really Jinx. And the Zone could have been united and prosperous. That was really good. But you know, and this is one of the places where Heimerdinger was shown. Basically, he was like a little bit before that when they broke into the Jace's lab, but I don't know. They basically forgot about my guy, and it's really sad because she just disappeared. Episode 7 probably went to the future, to the past, teleported as well, but he just, I don't know. They just forgot about him. Who cares about this small guy? And then, you know, Echo, it's like he didn't have enough time. He had like almost an entire episode 7 for him, sure, But apart from that, and carrying the entire crew, saving the entire world, more like the entire Piltover, to be honest. In the final episode, he didn't do anything else, and he had more potential. To be honest, I think he had more. But for the first 2/3 of the show, they basically forgot about him. There was like a conversation with Jace about the plant, which was like poisoning, but then they forgot about the plant and forgot about Echo as well and Heimerdinger. Because they tried to do so a lot of stuff that it wasn't really a good idea to do in the first place. Or who else? Victor. I already talked about Victor. She even had like the look. She even had like the laser. They finally was becoming the character that she should have been. But now he had to revert. Warwick is a good one. Is like because first he should look more like a monster, but it wasn't really an issue for me because there's Singed. He can always change him. It could actually always happen, but what's more important is personality, and he kind of became the person he should have been, right? He went to the monster only mode after Victor disappeared, but there's also this doll, this woman the Singed had that was alive, although she also received Victor powers, but everyone else was dead. So I don't know really what about it, what to think about it. But the Warwick, I don't have that much issue with him, apart from the fact that he should have more screen time before actually revealing that he's Vander. I think they really under-delivered that part. They could have done more with it. He would have like done some massacres, like horrible stuff, and then you actually reveal that he's Vander, and you're like, damn, this heartless, cruel monster that killed like a lot of people is actually Vander. And they try to do that actually when in the fight when Jinx and Vi were fighting him, but they should have done more of this. They should have done it a little bit longer. And like the problem is that it kind of should have been like a season 3 when all these characters finally become what they should be. Because what happened to Heimerdinger, for example, what happened to Jace, what happened to Victor, what about Jinx? There's a lot of unanswered questions which we not gonna have an answer for probably, because I don't think the new shows are actually gonna have even cameos of the old characters. Because do you know how many characters in League of Legends? What is it, like 150 something? There's a lot of them, alright? And if you can't really show a lot of them, if you're gonna get cameos to the old ones, it's like you need to move forward. Basically, you need to show different situations, different age, different location, and they're probably not gonna even show the characters that you have. So it's probably the story's over for Arcane, and so they're never gonna become how they should be. And Jinx is gonna be a hero for some reason, which was like a biggest downside for me, because she was focused one of the most. She had one of the biggest screen time, but and in the end, there is a lot of problems with the show, but I still think it was pretty good. Partially because the picture's pretty good, animation, all that is pretty good. And the second thing is, while I don't necessarily like the direction they go with the characters, but at least those characters make sense. They kind of, it's like, oh, I can understand why he's doing this. Oh, I can understand what he's going through a little bit, right? And it feels like there is a meaning in the direction, but I don't agree with the direction itself taken, and it was a little bit too fast, a little bit too. There's like a good ending to it. So yeah, I'm mixed on it a little bit. I really hope it's gonna be like this, as good as season 1, but I didn't get the war with Zone, which I really wanted to see. Oh man, it feels kind of bad because I was expecting it so hard yesterday. Like I bought snacks, I had like a picture with him. I still have popcorn even now, but I had like chips and different stuff. Right, this like a popcorn. All right, and there was a lot of different stuff I have. Right, And unfortunately, it was a little bit for nothing. I prepared a little bit for nothing. And the biggest problem here is expectations. And if I haven't played the Arcane after season 1, I probably would have felt a little bit better about it. But it's still try to cram too much into the limited time is not a really good idea. Whenever you're doing your original story or based on the game or based on some kind of source material, it doesn't really matter what it is. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. Now I don't really know what I'm gonna do here. I wanted to tell one story, like even in the first video when there was like Penguin, there was like Arcane, so I couldn't really focus on it. Probably gonna do it for a little bit because it's like a tiny minor story, but I kind of wanted to talk about it, about some weird ass people that exist in the world. And I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow, alright? It's probably gonna happen. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me this time around. And yeah, even if you decided to hear all the spoilers and you haven't watched season 2 but you watched season 1, still watch season 2. It's still worth it, I think. Because yeah, I still think it's worth it, despite all its flaws. And still, Arcane was good. And I probably want to rewatch. I kind of want to rewatch the 2 seasons back to back. Maybe it's going to be a little bit better because, you know, I watched the season 1 not a year ago, but probably half a year ago. I rewatched it not that long ago, alright? I remember a lot of it, most of it, I remember. But maybe if you watch it back to back, it feels a little bit better. But maybe I'm just trying to justify the season being a bit underwhelming. It could be also the case. So anyway, that's gonna be it for me. Thanks for your attention, as usual. All 0 of you. And bye.